Me 29 assistant professor in sociology at a state college, spent my whole adult life building myself around feminist scholarship articles about structural sexism, seminars on power imbalance, conference panels on violence against women. And yeah, I hate men. Not even trying to dress it up. Every part of my life taught me the same lesson my father bailed when I was a kid. My mom got stuck doing everything alone. One boyfriend played mind games until I barely recognized myself. The next one wanted to control where I went and who I talked to. Male faculty kept trying to slap their names over my work. Male students were always the first ones to challenge me in class. Every single interaction felt like proof. Men were the problem. All of them. No exceptions. My classes reflected that: lectures on toxic masculinity, lectures on male aggression, lectures on systems built to keep women underneath men. Students called me powerful, called me fearless, called me a voice that mattered. Some people said I went too far, didn't care. Truth doesn't become false just because people get uncomfortable. I kept a tight circle of women around me. All of us had our own scars from men. All of us were tired. All of us were done. We backed each other up. We reassured each other. We kept each other safe from men, from disappointment, from getting hurt. Again, my work was basically my whole life. Research was the thing that kept me going. Teaching felt like the reason I existed. I didn't need a man. I didn't want one either. Being alone was better. Then the university rolled out some new initiative partnerships with local nonprofits supposed to connect academic research with actual community work. Mandatory for every faculty member, each of us had to team up with an outside organization, full project, running across 4 semesters. I remember rolling my eyes so hard it hurt more. Admin garbage, more pointless forms, more little hoops to jump through. But mandatory is mandatory. I got assigned to a nonprofit that worked with survivors of domestic abuse, which honestly sounded perfect. That was my field. That actually mattered. I could contribute something real, do research that meant something, maybe even help. Went to the first meeting at their office, small place downtown, cozy, but plain clean enough, obviously short on money. Receptionist welcomed me like she'd known me forever. Walked me back to a conference room, told me the director would be in. Soon I pictured an older woman, seasoned advocate type, someone who would get it. Immediately door opens. Guy walks in, maybe early 30s, tall, jeans and a button. Up, looked casual but still put together. Puts out his hand. "Hey, I'm Nathan, Director of Client Services." I just stare at his hand. "Don't touch it. You're the director." He lowers his hand without making it weird. "Yeah, of the domestic violence program. That's me, for women, for all survivors, actually." I sit down without shaking his hand. Already feels like a train wreck. A man running services for abuse survivors. A man helping battered women felt wrong on its face. Guys like that usually have some reason. Power control, ego savior complex. Pick one. He sits across from me and opens a folder. "So you're Dr. Parker, Professor Parker?" "Actually, right, sorry, I've read some of your work. Really good stuff. Didn't buy that for a second. Which work your article about the institutional barriers survivors hit when they try to get help. Honestly made me think about gaps in our own system." He sounded sincere, but men always sound sincere in the beginning. "So, what exactly do you do?" Here, kept my voice clipped, cold. "Professional. I oversee direct services, counseling, coordination, case management, housing, support. I work with survivors every day and you're qualified for that." How he doesn't even blink. Masters in social work, focus in trauma. Care been doing this for about 9 years. Why he pauses? Why this work? Why is a man choosing to work with abused women? He leans back a little, actually thinks before answering. "Because the work needs to be done, and I'm good at it." Not what I expected. I expected a speech, some performative hero. Answer some line about wanting to save women. Instead, I got something plain. Still didn't trust it. "Let's just survive the semester." I said it flat. "I'll handle the research, you handle the program, and we can avoid getting in each other's way." He nods slowly. "If that's what you want, it is okay." Then after that, he pulls out the project timeline, walks me through the structure. I'd be observing services, interviewing survivors. If they consented, reviewing outcomes, writing a report for the university. Fine, I could do all of that, without actually engaging with him, without trusting him, without dropping my guard for 1 second. First week starts. I'm sitting in on intake sessions. Nathan meets with new clients. I watch him like a hawk, looking for warning signs, looking for the moment the mask slips, looking for control games. Anything woman comes in looking absolutely wrecked, trying to hide bruises under makeup, hands shaking, barely able to get words out, and his entire presence changes. Voice gets quieter. Movements slow, way down. He makes himself look smaller. Somehow less intimidating, less like a threat. Asks permission. For everything. Is it okay if I sit here? Do you want some water? Can I write a few things down? Never assumes, never pushes, just asks soft questions, then gives her room to answer. Lets silence sit there when she needs it. Doesn't rush to fill it. Bit by bit, she starts talking, starts telling him what happened. And he listens. Actually listens. Not that fake waiting for his turn kind of listening. Not performing, concern, just there completely. There jots down what she needs. Housing options, legal support, therapy, referrals, childcare, help, employment, resources. Every practical thing that might keep her afloat. Never once turns the moment into something about him. Never talks about his own emotions. Never makes himself the center of it. Everything stays on her, her safety, her needs, her next steps, her chance at a future. By the end of the meeting, she's crying, but not the same way. She came in, these were relief tears. The kind that come out when somebody finally believes you. Thank you, she says, for believing me, for helping me. Nathan just gives a small shake of his head. You already did the hardest part coming in here, asking for help. I'm just doing my job after she leaves. I just sit there quietly, trying to process what I saw. It doesn't line up with the story, I tell myself. Doesn't match what I expected, doesn't fit the hate either. But whatever, one meeting doesn't prove anything. One good performance is still a performance, probably different when nobody's watching second week. I keep shadowing him through the normal routine meeting, after meeting client after client. Same care every time, same patience, same level of respect, never rushes. Them never acts annoyed, never talks down to anybody, treats every woman like an actual person. Not some victim label, not a case file, not a charity project, a person. Someone with choices left, someone with strength, left someone who still has a future. I start noticing other stuff too. How the staff talks about him. All women on staff. All of them speak well of him. No weird comments, no side glances, no complaints, no whispered warnings, nothing. Then how the clients react to him. They trust him. They ask for him by name. They thank him like they mean it. Then the way he handles problems in the office, calm, fair, no ego attached. And I'm still waiting for the catch, still waiting for the hidden motive, still waiting for the mask to crack. Third week, a brutal case comes in. Woman with 3 kids, no place to stay, no cash, no relatives. She can call, needs emergency housing immediately. All the shelters are full. Marcus spends basically the whole day on the phone, calling every contact. He has every program, every shelter, every backup plan, every long shot, finally finds a place farther away. Not ideal, but safe open bed, better than nothing. He arranges a ride, puts together supplies, uses organizations' money to get groceries for the kids. Basic stuff too. Toiletries, clothes, little things that let people hold on to some dignity. The woman is crying by the end of it, hugging him, thanking him over and over. He looks almost uncomfortable getting praised, just tells her, "You're going to be okay. You're stronger than you think. You're going to get through this," after she leaves. He sits at his desk, head in his hands. Just breathing for a minute, I tap on the doorframe. He looks up fast, pulls himself back together. "Sorry, just processing rough case. They're all rough." He gives this tired little nod. "Yeah, they are, but we help where we can. That's the part that matters. Does it get to you? I don't even know why I ask. That shouldn't care. Except maybe I do a little every time." He says honestly, every story gets to me. Every single one sticks with me. Then why keep doing it? He looks right at me. Because somebody has to, and I can do it, so I do. That's it. Simple answer again. No hero, act, no savior, speech, just responsibility, quietly accepted, quietly carried out. After that, I start watching him differently. Not hunting for flaws anymore, just watching. He gets there early, stays late, skips, lunch half the time, answers calls at stupid hours, because crisis doesn't care what time it is. His paperwork is always exact, because clients need approvals, because documentation matters, because advocacy means nothing if you can't prove things. His office has kids' drawings everywhere. Thank you. Cards, photos of families after they got placed in housing, not arranged neatly, not displayed like some PR wall, just taped up. Wherever there was space, messy, and real gratitude that was actually earned. Gratitude he actually kept one day. A client blows up at him, full screaming meltdown about wait times, about the broken system, about everything that's unfair, everything that's failed her. He takes it without pushing back, doesn't get defensive, doesn't start making excuses, just listens, lets her be furious afterward. She starts crying and apologizing. He tells her not to. Don't apologize, you have every right to be angry. The system is broken. I'm angry too. I'm just trying to help you get through it. She nods. They sit back down, work through options together, make a plan. And by the end, she's smiling a little, looking hopeful again. I watch all that and feel something ugly twist around in me. Something uncomfortable, cognitive dissonance. I guess he's a man. He's supposed to be the problem, but he isn't. If anything, he's part of the solution, and that does not fit anywhere in my head. Doesn't fit my worldview. Doesn't fit my life. Doesn't fit the narrative I've built everything on fifth week. He asks if I want to grab coffee after a long day. I hesitate immediately, just coffee. He says, not trying anything, figured. We should probably talk about the research. I agree, but barely. We go to this little cafe nearby, sit outside late summer evening. Actually, kinda nice. We order coffee, sit there in awkward silence for a second. So, what have you noticed? He asks. Professional question, research, question. Your methods seem effective, I admit it carefully. Your staff is solid. Clients seem to trust the program. He nods. But what you look like, you've got more to say. Why do you really do this? I ask again. I need the answer to make sense. He takes a while before speaking. My sister, he says, finally. What about her? She was in an abusive relationship for years. I had no idea, or maybe I did and didn't want to see it. His voice gets quieter when he says it, more strained by the time she finally told me how bad it was. It was already really bad. I helped her get out, found her resources, stayed with her through the whole mess. She's safe now, doing well. Now he looks at me for a second, but I kept thinking about all the women who don't have a brother, don't have anybody to step in, the ones going through it completely alone. So I went back to school, got trained, started doing this work. That's why, again, not what I expected. I expected ego, expected control. Instead, I got grief responsibility, actual care. I'm sorry, I say automatically about your sister. He gives a small nod. She's okay. Now that's what matters. We sit there in silence after that, but it's a different silence now. Less sharp, less hostile, more human. Can I ask you something? He says. Sure, why do you hate men? Direct question, didn't expect it, could have gotten defensive, could have dodged it instead. I tell the truth because every man I've known has either hurt me or hurt somebody I love. Every single one. No exceptions. He nods, doesn't argue, doesn't rush to defend himself. Or his entire sex just listens. That's fair, he says, based on what you've lived through. That's completely fair. I wait for the not all men speech, wait for the usual defensive garbage. It never comes instead. He says, I'm sorry. That's been your experience. You deserve better. Every woman does something. Shifts in my chest. Tiny movement like a hairline crack running through armor. I didn't realize I'd welded shut a crack in the certainty. A crack in the hatred. And I have no clue what to do with it. Week 6, my research is almost finished. The data is solid. The report is basically writing itself. Their program works. The outcomes are strong. I can't deny evidence just because it complicates the worldview. Nathan asks me to observe a family session, mother and teenage daughter, both survivors, both in counseling. The whole thing is raw as hell, painful, intense. The daughter is furious at her mom for staying with the guy. As long as she did, the mother is defensive and ashamed at the same time, guilty too. Nathan guides the conversation, carefully. Doesn't pick sides, doesn't favor one over the other. He validates both of them. Helps each one actually hear what the other is saying. By the end, they're both crying, holding on to each other. Actually starting to heal. I watch through the window and I feel tears stinging my own eyes. This is real. This matters. This is the kind of work I claim to support. And he's the one actually doing it. Doing it well, while I mostly write papers about it after the session. He finds me in the hall. You okay? I wipe my eyes too fast. Yeah, fine. That was intense. Yeah, he says. But they're gonna be okay. How do you know? Because they love each other. And they're trying. Sometimes that's enough. I wish I had that kind of faith, that kind of hope, that ability to believe people can change that. Healing is real. I need to tell you something. I say before I can stop myself. Okay, I came here expecting to hate you. He smiles a little. I know it was pretty obvious I expected you to be exactly what I thought. Men were ego control, savior, complex, all of it. He just nods, still listening, but you're not. I stop trying to find the words. You're good at your job and you care, like actually care about the people, about the work, about the things I say. I believe in, and that's confusing as hell. He lets out this soft little laugh. Why is that confusing? Because you're a man, and I hate men. What do you still hate men? All men, including me. I actually stop and think about it, really think I don't know. It comes out honest, that's fair, he says. That's progress. Maybe it is final week of the program. I'm finishing the report, getting the presentation ready for the university program, effectiveness client outcomes, everything. I observed Nathan asks me to meet one last time in his office, more private. I sit across from him, like I did the first day, but it feels completely different now. I wanted to thank you. He says for what? For giving us a chance. I know that wasn't easy for you. I know you didn't want to, but you still did the work. Fair, work, good work. Your report is going to help us. I feel something warm at that pride, maybe, or satisfaction. Something I haven't felt here before. I should be thanking you for what? For forcing me to question my assumptions. For being completely different than what I expected for being. I pause for being a good person, despite being a man. He laughs. That's progress too. We sit there in comfortable silence for the first time. Can I ask you something? Sure, something personal. He nods. Do you think I stumble over the words? Do you think I'm wrong about men, about hating them? He thinks before answering carefully. I think you're protecting yourself because of real pain and real experience. That's not wrong. That's survival. Then he pauses, but I also think maybe some men are worth not hating. I tense up a little here. It comes, but it doesn't. Not all men, none of that. He just says some individually based on what they do not. Because they're men. Not because they aren't, again. Not the answer I expected. No defensiveness, no sweeping statement, just nuance, just honesty. Maybe, I say quietly, maybe something passes between us, then understanding connection, possibility. I leave his office feeling off balance, different, conflicted, less certain, and after years of certainty, uncertainty feels terrifying, but maybe a little freeing too. I present the report to the university. It goes over, well, people praise the program, the partnership gets called a success. The department chair asks if I want to keep working with them next semester, do more collaboration. I look over at Nathan in the audience. He's smiling at me, encouraging, not pushing, just there, yes. I hear myself say, I'd like to continue, second semester starts, and everything feels different. Not observation anymore, actual collaboration. Now we're actually working together, building programs, putting workshops together, training staff, trying to improve how the whole place runs. Nathan and I start meeting all the time, planning, strategizing, solving problems as they come up. It's a strong partnership, professional, effective, respectful. But somewhere along the way it starts turning into a friendship too. Maybe more than that. We start getting coffee regularly, talking about work, talking about cases, talking about everything that's hard about the job, then slowly talking about other stuff too. Book shows our lives outside the office. He tells me more about his sister, how she's doing now, new job, new relationship, a healthy one. This time actually moving forward. I tell him about my research, the new paper I'm writing about feminist solidarity, about collective healing. He listens closely, asks smart questions, sometimes pushes back a little. Always respectfully, makes me think harder, makes my ideas sharper. Months go by, like that friendship gets deeper. Trust builds slowly, carefully, like learning how to speak a language I never thought I'd need. My female friends start noticing, they ask about him. Alarm bells, immediately red flags, concern all over their faces. He's just a colleague. I tell them. And a friend? You're friends with a man? They say it like I admitted to having some disease. I guess they exchange looks. Tell me to be careful. Tell me not to trust him. Men always disappoint, eventually. I know they're trying to protect me, trying to stop me from getting hurt. But it lands differently now, feels restrictive, feels small, feels like maybe they're wrong or maybe I was. One night, we're both working late at the nonprofit, just me and Nathan, everyone else already gone home. We're reviewing case files, planning interventions. His phone rings. It's his sister. He steps outside to take it, comes back looking tense. Everything? Okay? She's having a rough night. Bad. PTSD. Flashback. I need to go over there. Of course go. He hesitates for a second, then says, "Would you come with me?" That catches me off guard. Why she asks about you sometimes, about your work. She thinks you're important. I think it would mean a lot to her. I could say no, could keep my distance, could keep the boundary in place, could stay safe. But something in me says, okay, before I can overthink it. We drive to his sister's apartment. Small place, quiet neighborhood, feels safe. She opens the door, mid-20s, maybe pretty in that worn-down way. Trauma leaves behind, pretty but clearly marked by what she's survived. Your doctor. Parker, she says, just use my first name. I'm not here as your professor. We sit down, she starts talking about what happened to her, about healing, about the fear that still shows up out of nowhere. Nathan listens, supports her, loves her in this obvious, deep, steady way. I watch him with his sister, and I see tenderness, I see protectiveness, I see a version of masculinity that isn't possessive, isn't controlling, just loving, just caring. And something in me gives way, not all at once, but enough some old belief, some old certainty, some old hatred starts cracking open like light, finally getting through a wall. Later we're driving home. Nathan thanks me for coming. She liked you, she's strong, I say, she's been through so much. Yeah, but she made it through with your help. He shakes his head a little. She did the hard part herself. I just supported her. I pull the car over. Need to say something. Need to actually be honest, Nathan. Yeah, I was wrong about what about you? About men, about everything. He stays quiet a second. Not everything. He says some men are exactly what you thought, exactly what you've experienced. You weren't wrong about them. Then after a pause, maybe you were just wrong about me. Yeah, maybe just you were sitting there and the car engine still running, and it feels like the whole shape of my life is changing. What does that mean? He asks softly for us. I don't know. Okay, I'm scared of what? Of being wrong again, of getting hurt, of losing whatever this is before I even understand it. He nods. I'm scared too of what? Of hurting you. Of ending up like the men who hurt you, even by accident. I look at him, then really look at him, and I can see it. The fear, the care, the possibility. You're not like them. I say it slowly, and I mean it. You're different. How do you know? Because I've spent months looking for one sign, one red flag, one warning that I was right about you. And there isn't one. There's just you being a good person, over and over again. That's all, and somehow that's enough. He reaches for my hand slowly, like he's asking before he even touches me. I let him take it, first time we've touched. First time I've allowed it, first time I've trusted it. I don't know what this is. I tell him, honestly me, neither. I don't know if I can do this. Okay, I might ruin it. Probably he smiles a little. I might too, probably will. But maybe we try anyway. I look down at our hands, such a simple thing, and it feels huge. Okay? Yeah, we try. 6 months later, we're officially together. Somehow, still terrifying, still uncertain. But good, really good. My friends are worried, my colleagues. Side-eye, the whole thing. My students are openly confused. How does the feminist professor end up dating a man? How am I supposed to square my politics with my relationship? I wrestle with that, constantly. Nathan is patient through all of it, gives me room, lets me work through it, never pressures, never pushes, just stays consistent, just stays present, just stays himself. One day, I'm teaching a class on healthy relationships on equality, and a student asks, "Professor, how can you teach this stuff and still date a man? Isn't that a contradiction?" Whole class goes quiet, watching me waiting. I take a breath. I used to think all men were the problem, that feminism meant rejecting men, completely protecting ourselves from the harm they were always going to cause. I pause, I was wrong. I hear murmuring around the room. Not about patriarchy, not about systemic oppression. Those are real, those still matter. But I was wrong about individuals, about assuming who people are before I see what they actually do. I look right at the student. Feminism isn't about hating men. It's about equality. And sometimes equality means recognizing men who are good, supporting them, learning from them, even loving them. The room goes dead silent. My partner spends every day helping survivors, fighting abuse, pushing back against toxic masculinity with actual action. Not slogans, not performance action. I pause again. That's feminism too. People working together toward equality. The student nods slowly. Class moves on. But something inside me has shifted in my teaching, in what I call true present day. 2 years since we met, about a year and a half together, my life is different now. I'm different now. Still a feminist, still a professor, still fighting for equality, but softer. Somehow. More open. Less angry all the time. Nathan didn't fix me, didn't save me, didn't complete me. He just walked next to me while I healed, while I changed, while I grew into somebody less ruled by old pain. I still have bad days. Days when the old fear comes back. Days when the distrust flares up again. He handles those days with patience, with understanding, with space, never turns it into being. About him, never gets defensive, just waits until I find my way back to us, back to trust, back to love. One night, we're sitting in his apartment, our apartment. Now we moved in together last month. Can I tell you something? Always, I love you. Not the first time we've said it, but it still lands heavy. Every single time. He smiles. I love you too. No, I struggle for the words I love you, in spite of everything I used to believe in, spite of the fear, in spite of everything I thought I knew. I love you, he pulls me in close. I know that wasn't easy. Getting here, trusting me, loving me, I'm honored. We sit there in this comfortable silence, something I never thought I'd have with a man, maybe with anyone. Do you ever regret it? He asks, regret. What changing your mind about men about me? I think about it for a while. No, not regret, but sometimes I do. Mourn, what the certainty, the clean simplicity of hatred. He nods like he understands exactly what I mean. Nuance is harder than absolutes. Yeah, but it's better too, more honest, more real. He kisses my forehead. I'm glad you took the chance, me too. Even though it scared the hell out of me. Maybe because it scared the hell out of me. I look up at him. Thank you for what? For being patient, for being steady, for being exactly who you are. He smiles. Thank you for giving me a chance, for seeing me as a person, instead of just a gender, for judging me by what I do, for being who you are too. We smile at each other. Partnership, equality, love, TFW. You spend years hating all men, build your whole identity around that hatred. Then one man comes along and changes everything. Not by arguing, not by defending himself, just by being good, consistently, patiently, genuinely, and little by little, carefully, terrifyingly. You change your mind, not about patriarchy. That's still real, not about feminism, that's still necessary, but about individuals, about possibility, about love, about the fact that hatred was protecting you from pain, from risk, from being vulnerable, but it was also protecting you from connection, from growth, from this wasn't worth it. The fear, the risk, the change. I look at him, at us, at this life we've built. Yeah, it was worth it, all of it. Especially the parts that scared me most, because those parts led here to understanding, to nuance, to love. That's complicated, earned real, and real is worth it. Even when it's hard, maybe especially when it's hard.